Well, the benefits of using the tech in the classroom are being able to give the students the hands-on activity that they have, to give them the familiarity with the equipment that they may be using in the marketplace themselves once they leave the school. They need to be able to have exposure to those tools so that when they step into the job, they're just able to step right in and start walking or running in that position rather than having a learning curve or developing up because of the technology.
I would say just computers in general, with that part of technology, the ability to do PowerPoints. Teachers are able to put their notes in front of the entire class just on a pre-made PowerPoint slide. It lets it go by a lot quicker than having to write it out the whole time. So I think we get a lot more done in class because of that. Online, we can, check assignments, stuff like that. Normally, we'd have to, find the teacher's office. Just the fact that we have email now, that we can just send them a message just like that and ask them a question, and they can respond as soon as possible.
The benefits of the increase in technology have really helped the students in two ways. The first thing that it does is it gives students access and a way of organizing tons of information. The second thing that it does is it gives students access to that information on a 24/7, 365 basis. They don't have to come to class to get the information from the professor, which changes the professor's role from a disseminator of information, i.e. a public speaker, to actually someone who's more of a tour guide, who's a coach, who points out highlights, key road signs along the way, tries to share with students some practical experiences, the spirit of the thing, give them practical advice, help them with particular projects and problems, and essentially manage the assignments of the course. So the role of the instructor out of this technological shift changes dramatically.
Well, some of the hindrances, of course, are the cost. Being able to stay up with that current technology and to keep evolving as you go on. You have to keep evolving the curriculum, you have to keep evolving the education of the administrators, the education of the faculty, along with the students, and being able to keep the technology up is expensive. There's also a problem of keeping the students focused on what they are. I mean, we're giving them a whole bunch of fancy toys with blinking lights. And to keep them focused on the task at hand rather than using them for some of their tools of entertainment like email and Facebook, that's always a challenge when you have a large area like that with one faculty working with the students to keep them focused while we're giving them these things that have so many distractions available.
People get on Facebook all the time when they're in class. I talk to people that are in my class during class on Facebook, but I've also used Facebook for good things to talk to people about group projects and whatnot, so it's kind of a double-edged sword.
The biggest hindrance that you have is technical, which is you've got a lot of different instructors using different classrooms, you've got students using the equipment. If something breaks and the university doesn't fix it, or the students can't repair it, or you don't have a particular connector or a cable or something that you need, and you're dependent on technology in the classroom, when you walk in there, what are you going to do? So as an instructor, you have to be prepared every time you go into class to teach the class as if the technology is not there, just in case the technology doesn't work.
There seems to be a lot of confusion when it comes to playing like movies and clips on the internet and stuff. Like they have a remote for this or remote for that. They got to turn up this. Oh, we've got to turn up this sound too. You got to change it to this channel and get on. So there's just like a whole lot. I think they just like need to make it more uniform, just like, one or two things instead of a whole bunch of different things.
Honestly, I don't think the students need it. I feel like they get the training on their own to use the technology. Like, all students pretty much know how to use the computer, internet, stuff like that. If they need training, the small amount that is needed, I feel like they're given it pretty easily and they catch on quick.
Anytime you have a lot of that technology available, given the amount of time, there's a trade-off. And that's just a compromise. Some students will learn a whole lot faster than others. Some have already been exposed to it. Some of them, this is the very first time they've seen some of that. and I will be willing to spend extra time with those students that desire it. But then there's the student's problem is also being able to compromise how much time they can have on training for this one particular class versus the other classrooms and the burdens they have for the other time. So everybody's got a trade-off on what time they can afford to spend to get the job done.
But I've had to take a class to get trained with all the cameras before I was able to touch them, which I think is a good thing. They taught us all about the cameras in my video production class. The Macs in there, they kind of let us come, without any training if we're in a class that has it. And if we don't know how to do anything, Brian's there, the teacher's there to help us. So I feel like they give us enough training with the technology, in our department at least.